This is Inspirational Talk with Toneal.
Inspirational talk. Everyday people. Inspirational talk. Intentional choices. Inspirational talk. Extraordinary outcomes. It's Inspirational Talk with Toneal. Now here's your host, international award-winning author and filmmaker, Toneal M. Jackson.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you are tuning in to the show. I am your international award-winning author, filmmaker, and empowerment specialist, Toneal M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you guys to an all-new Inspirational Talk with Toneal. I am so excited about today's show because I have such an extraordinary guest on today. And you guys are going to get to know her soon. But remember our rules of protocol. When you come into the room, number one, say hello so that way we can speak back. Number two, like and share the video so that way other people are able to see it. And then number three, tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this show. And who would benefit from today's broadcast? Anyone who needs to be inspired. And that's what I put on the reel earlier, because everybody needs to be inspired sometime. And this guest today is definitively able to do that. She is not only a best-selling author, but she is also a TedX speaker. And she's just an incredible person. I'm not going to delay it anymore, but please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Cynthia Colon. How are you, Cynthia?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you, Toneal?
I am great. I am so happy and honored to have you on. So I just did a generic overview of who you are, but I want for you to tell the people who you are by answering this question. If someone was to say to you, who is Cynthia? How would you answer that?
Mm. I love this question because I think that I might have answered it differently, 5 years ago. But today I would say I'm very, first of all, spiritual and very grounded, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
that person that gets up and does affirmations and I don't like to have bad vibes or bad energy around me, that kind of thing. I'm also very happy and positive. I've actually heard people say, "You're so positive." I try to be. I mean, like, what? Life is too short to be
That
negative.
part.
Like, hey. I would also say I'm a terrible gift giver, having just come from the holidays. I hate the holidays because my love language is quality time. So I much rather give you the gift of my time,
Yep.
which we only have so many minutes in a day. And so
Yep.
I'm giving you my time. That is a beautiful thing. So I much rather spend time with people than give, the gift of presence versus
Mhm.
present.
Presence. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was a cheerleader. It shouldn't be no surprise to anyone. I was a cheerleader when I was a kid, and I'm a cheerleader of students. That's really my mission and my passion. That's why I wrote the book, all of those things. But I'm a cheerleader of life. I believe that we're just always ever evolving. I try to keep
Yep.
growing,
Yep.
and that's how I would describe, who I am today.
That is absolutely awesome. I love that, the being cheerleader of life, because let me tell you, sometimes life stars life into all of us. And what we need more than anything is a huge cheerleader, right? And so I am just so excited to hear your story and hear about you. And I want for us to kind of start at the beginning. You mentioned the book. So before you became an author, how did you start just your journey to where the road to where you are right now? How did it all begin?
Ooh, gosh. So the truth is, I was in college missions. I was recruiting for Vassar College, a liberal arts college in Poughkeepsie, New York. And I'm a first generation to college student myself. I'm a daughter of an immigrant mother. Neither of my parents went to college. And so I was the first in my family to go to USC and then to Columbia University and then eventually to UCLA. But after Columbia, I worked at Vassar and recruited. And I went to these high schools that they told me to go visit and recruit.
Mhm.
And I was shocked at the resources that were available to students that most of the time I was visiting private schools, or wealthy neighborhood public schools. So I started to journal when I was sitting on the beaches of Miami or on the Riverwalk in San Antonio or wherever I was starting to journal about things I thought that public school students should know that
Mhm.
didn't know that I was
Mhm.
seeing here.
Mhm.
You know that 20, almost 20 years later, I want to say maybe it was 18 or 19 years later, after I published my first book, Tip, Tales, and Truth, which later became Be Committed, Get Admitted, I found my journal.
Wow.
And the things I was writing in that journal was actually almost like the table of contents of what became my book. So that's sort of the short story of like how that came to be, but it was always in my head and I just kept going with my life. I had this career and I was climbing the ladder of career. I became a principal at two Catholic schools. And then I set out, I basically sort of took time away and I said, you know what, I'm going to write that book I've always said I'm going to write.
Mm.
And I did it in 10 months and had it published. And that's the book I always had in me. So
Mhm.
I think that we know who we are or our plight, our mission, our feeling of like solving some injustice in the world.
Mhm.
And most of us probably never take the time to be quiet enough to listen and focus on doing just that.
That is so true. Like getting to know yourself. I tell people all the time, people are so much in a rush to be in a relationship, to be in a friendship, to be around all of these people. And it's like you need to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you and what are you bringing to the table? We are so quick to say what we need everybody else to bring or what we need from everybody else. But you also need to be aware of what it is that you bring and what it is that you want, right? Like a lot of times it's like you just think that you want presence, as you said earlier, but I don't want everybody's presence because everybody's presence does not illuminate the room. It doesn't add value to who I am. You know what I'm saying? But I love the fact, I love the name. You said tips, tales, and tricks. Is that what you said the name of the first one?
Tips, tales, and truths.
Truths. And then you said it became
Then,
be.
yeah, so we rebranded it and it's called Be Committed, Get Admitted. And it's basically your roadmap for anyone. This is like the perfect eighth grade graduation gift, right? Someone going into high school needs to have these tips and tales and behind the scenes truths about college admissions early on.
Mhm.
And that's the big thing, right? For me, what I saw back when I was recruiting for Vassar was what I saw was the problem is most public school families do not have access to a happy and well-informed counselor that is going to give them the
Mhm.
information they need as early as they need it.
Mhm.
And so the book Be Committed, Get Admitted is designed to be that map. There's 7 chapters, there's 30 tales, and I did a retreat with Jack Canfield.
I love chicken for the soul, chicken soup for the
Yes,
soul.
yes,
Oh,
I was,
okay.
one of 17 people that were in a retreat with him, and
Wow.
he gives a testimonial for my book. He says, "There's good content here, but when you see the cover, nobody knows what it is, right?"
Mhm.
So we kept the template of tips, tales, every tale has a tip, a tale, and a truth. The tip from the college counselor perspective, the tale from an actual student, a story, and then the truth is from the college admissions perspective. So he loved it, but he said, you got
Mhm.
to change the title. So
Mhm.
we changed the title, and now it says what it is. Be committed, get admitted. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give as many public school students what I call private school service.
I love it. And I want to kind of take one question, but put it together and you see where I'm going with it. The same when you started the interview, you said, if you would have asked me this question 5 years ago, it would have been a little bit different. And then you talk about the fact that your book had to be rebranded. How important do you think it is for us to kind of rebrand ourselves? Like how and if it's important, how often do you think that that process should happen?
Oh, Tina, I love this question. So I believe in continuing to evolve. And I'm a work in progress. I'm never going to get to perfection. And I actually, quite frankly, am not striving for perfection,
Mhm.
because that would be boring, right? And so, really, they say when you get to college, like you're going to change your major, X amount of times, and you're going to have this many careers. And it's probably even more now.
Mhm.
So, you know, before when we had a pre-conversation, my truth is that I had a tough 3 years, 2014, 15, 16. I went through death, divorce, devastation. My father passed in 2014. I went through divorce in 2015, and I lost my job in 2016.
Mhm.
And I mean, for someone who, like me, I was always an overachiever, still am, put my worth and value in who I am, what I do, my career. That was hard. It was really hard to sort of come back from that. And I had to rethink, what is my purpose? Do I want to find my value only in what I do and
Mhm.
not why I do it? And I had to
Mhm.
really get reflective of, what is it that I'm here to do? What was I put on this planet to do? And so
Mhm.
I think I had this really great friend, special friend, Dorothy, when I worked at Marymount High School, God rest her soul. She had gone through, sobriety. So she always had these great golden nuggets.
Mhm.
Don't let people live in your head rent free. Um, you have to forgive, whatever. I thought that the school that had wronged me was going to call me one day and apologize. She said that apology is not coming. You have to forgive. So I had to go through my own rebranding, which took several years to do.
Yeah.
So I think we are all a work in progress, and I don't think that perfection is attainable. And as long as you can accept that and wrap your brain around that, then
Mhm.
I think you're in good shape.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think that when you understand, and it's not a bad thing, right? Because I think that if you became perfect, you lose humility. So I think like making the mistakes, having to keep trying, understanding that, you know what, I'm giving it 100% in this season and it's still not it. So I think that that kind of keeps you humble, you know?
Right.
So I think that that's great what you brought out. And so I just wanted to commend you though for being able to take it. But here's the thing, like I tell my girls all the time, it's only life. It's only life. like, like you might make a mistake, you might fall, might really embarrass yourself, but it's only life. As long as you have breath in your body, you have an opportunity to start all over, right? And you get another chance to get it right. Go ahead and speak on that.
Amen. I mean, like, I was with my nieces yesterday, and the little one, she was, doing her homework. I mean, she's in like first grade, and she was crying over, like, she didn't get it perfect. Mommy, it doesn't look like yours, she said to my best friend. And we said, you don't have to get it perfect. You just have to get it right. I mean, it's correct. It doesn't look exactly like mommy. So I love, stories like that where kids, spill the milk out of the
Mhm.
refrigerator, and a parent's, reaction. Obviously, you can have the reaction of, like, getting angry, but you can also say, like, what did you learn? Like, you were trying to carry too many things at one time,
Mhm.
like, don't do. So how do we learn the lesson? And the lessons can be learned as young as, my little first grade niece, or, still at my age, I'm still, learning, you know, to be patient.
Absolutely.
Patience is not my forte. I want
Mhm.
everything done, quickly. And so I find when I'm rushing to do something, I make a mistake, and you kind of have to, keep learning from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we're going to take a very, very brief commercial break and we'll be right back with Dr. Cynthia Colon.
Hard to find a man your age. And only some of you look good enough to even get a younger man.
Do I sing? I don't play games, and that is a fact, cause I'm a seasoned woman, and I ain't got time for that.
There's not a virus or vaccine that could change the will of God.
I live my life for everyone, now I'm living it for me.
All right, you guys, welcome back to Inspirational Talk with Toneal. And I am joined by special guest, Dr. Cynthia Colon. And that commercial that was sponsored by Seasoned. And if you guys are not already watching that, you can stream that from Tubi. So it is streaming on the Tubi platform. And so, anyway, we are going to jump right back into what we were talking about. I want for us to kind of lead with what we left off with: a tip, a tale, and a truth. So we're gonna, of those three, pick one: tip, tale, or truth. And so I want for you, for our listening audience, when it comes to your life, do you have a good tip that you can give us, a good tale, or what's a great truth?
Oh gosh. The one that, so a few tips I think are coming to me right now. It's the new year, right? And so a lot of people do, New Year's resolutions, and we know the statistics on that most people don't get past 30. Well, most people don't get past 15 days, much less 30 days.
Mhm.
So for me, my biggest tip is building habits, right? I subscribe to, the whole atomic habits, trying to get 1% better every single day. So for me, a tip is, okay, I have, let's say a goal of, changing my eating habits, or, working out, uh, 24 days out of 30 every month, right? It's 2024. My best friend and I, we kind of had 20, what are we going to do with the number 24? And I said, well, I'm going to work out 24 days out of every month. Okay. So what does that look like? I have to schedule it. I need to schedule that time.
Mhm.
So I subscribe to the big tip of, like, what gets written gets done. And if I write something down, and I get up very early. I get up somewhere between 4 and 5 in the morning. And that's because I want to get up and start my day fresh. When I was a kid, I was too cool for school. I was too cute. I was putting my makeup on, and I was like running out the door. I was always like, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, which is so disrespectful of time, right? Somebody else's time. It was like someone was picking me up. And now I just never like to feel rushed. So I get up and I have a routine. So I sort of come into the day, and I write down what I have to get done that day. I write down must do's, could do's, must do's, should do's, and could do's.
Mhm.
And I sort of time out how long I think it's going to take me to get those things done. But in my schedule for the day, I write in when of part of the day I'm going to get that walk in or that workout or whatever. So I just believe what gets written gets done. Make a plan, work the plan, and the plan will work.
I love that. Make a plan, work the plan, and the plan will work. See, I'm trying to tell you, Cynthia, we should have been, we are long overdue from meeting each other, because that is, I promise I subscribe to that same thing. There, I tell people all the time, there's a difference between goals and plans. Goals are great, but plans get you productive, right? So, like, it's great to be able to say, hey, one day, but then once you put that plan into action, now you can begin to be productive. And so, anyway, guys, you are joined by Dr. Cynthia Colon, who is a best-selling author. She's the author of Be Committed, Get Admitted. She is also a TEDx speaker. So my question is, was that one of the things that was written? If you write it down, it gets done. Let's talk about that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so excited. I just gave the talk in October. It's in production, and then they submit it to TED, and it'll come out sometime early this year. But I went to a live TEDx event in 2018, I want to say, in Pasadena. I live in Los Angeles. And I remember being super inspired and thinking, I want to do that. I want to be a TEDx speaker. And so at the event, they had these other booths, before. And so you could make a vision board. And on the vision board, I put TEDx speaker. And it took me 4 years. In 2022, I hired a Tony Purry, who specializes in helping, with public speaking. And she has helped other public TEDx speakers. So I said, can we just start to distill what is the idea, right? Because that's the TEDx thing. What is your big idea? Why is it different? How is it different? I mean, and then, so we worked on that for a good 5 months, I want to say, and distilling different things. And we did come up with a couple of ideas. So in 2023, I applied to 3 different TEDx, and I applied with 3 different topics, which I don't know if that was a good strategy or not, but I had 3 topics in me, and based on where I was applying, because each city that hosts will have a theme. Okay, they have a deadline. The deadline to apply is typically 6 to 10 months before the actual event. You have to be thinking well ahead. So, I thought I was going to be applying in 2022, and Tony was like, "Oh no." So you have to be thoughtful of that, and then you have to kind of match the theme, right, that they're doing. So anyway, there's all these things. So I sort of tweaked my proposal. So I got denied at one. I was waitlisted another. I was a semifinalist, and then I got one. Right. I use these terms because they're college admission terms, right?
Yeah.
I was rejected or denied, and then waitlisted, and then I was admitted. But it turns out it was the right one, because the one that I was did get, the topic I presented was on college admissions. So my topic is college admissions is not fair. And this had the fact that the SCOTUS decision came out in 2023
Was
made
perfect.
was a
Yeah.
made for like a very timely talk. And I couldn't have been more excited. And I think we got notice that we were admitted by April or May. And then we met every month as a group. And then I had a coach. So a lot of iterations of that speech. It was a lot of work.
And you know what? I'm so glad that you're breaking down the process, because here's the thing: life is a process, right? So many times people wake up. I think there's a song that says, like, I woke up like this. Let me tell you, most things in life, you don't just get here. It's a journey. And I would like for you to kind of speak to, like, how important it is to appreciate the journey as
Mm.
opposed to spending all of your time focusing on the destination.
Right. Yes. No, I love this question too, because, we're also in award season. So, and I live in LA. So all the awards were here, the Golden Globes. And I always think of, when people win an Oscar and they get up and people watching may think, oh gosh, they were an overnight success, right? Like, look at them. They, all of a sudden, and it's like, that was not overnight. I guarantee you, that man or woman was probably, 6 years old, and mom taking them to TV commercials or auditions, like whatever it was. Like, and here they are, 20, 25 years later. You have to kind of stick with, your plan. What is the plan? You got to keep working the plan and getting better and getting better. They say that it takes 10,000 hours to hone your craft. The Beatles weren't great because they were just talented. The Beatles were great because they did gig after gig after gig after gig, things like that. So when I work with private clients, I try to break it down. Well, sometimes I start working with them as early as freshman year or sophomore year. So to them, it seems like a long way away before they're going to actually apply to college. And I'm like, it is a long way away, I guess, to you, but in the grand scheme of things in
Not
life,
at all.
like
Yep.
in life of 80 years, you're going to live 2 years is a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
We just chunk it out. So what I just shared is I set the goal and the intention in 2018. And I always knew it was there, right? But perhaps other things in my life were more, were taking priority, or I was doing this and I was doing that and I was writing the book and whatever. But I always knew it was there. Again, what gets written gets done.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we don't know how things are going to manifest and come our way. And then I met Tony, and I interviewed Tony on my podcast, and I learned more about what she did. And so I put it in the back of my head, okay, when I'm ready, I'm going to call Tony. So that was another piece of the puzzle. And then we met, and then we and then the next step. And then, okay, now I have to apply. Now I have to interview. I mean, there's so many steps to getting success that when I look back, I'm going to get choked up. Once I was selected, they assigned us, this particular city assigned us a coach. Ken was my coach. He does work with Toastmasters, if you're familiar with Toastmasters.
I am.
So I thought I was a good speaker. I mean, I had a microphone in my hand since I was 15.
Right.
Right. And I was like the student body president. And I was like running everything. And then, I spoke, when I was recruiting and stuff. And so Ken would sit with me, and they would record once a month our talks, our practice. And then your coach would then go over it. Well, I don't know if everybody got this, but Ken would sit with me for 2 hours going
Wow.
over a 12-minute talk and pause it and say, okay, you see right here, you move your body this way, or do this, or or say this, or, have inflection here. I mean, I learned so much. And that was the beauty of getting accepted to be a TEDx. Like the journey. And like, I wouldn't have said that a year ago. I would have been like, I want to be a TEDx speaker because I want it, I want to be able to put it on my signature, and people will know, and, it'll give me more credibility, all the things that you think, that are going to come with this next accomplishment. And the accomplishment is the what you did.
Yeah.
But the journey is how you got there. It's why you got there. And there's so much more beauty. But you don't realize those things until sometimes you're older, or you can look back and appreciate it.
Absolutely. Like, because the how actually connects to the who, right? Like how you do things. If you're doing it with integrity, if you have character, like how you get somewhere, it kind of influences who you become. And so I love that. And it's so important that we remember that. And so really quickly, to everybody who has joined us, thank you to Portia and Cedric and Tanya and Jillian and Bridget and Jojo and Thomas, and to everybody, whether you are tuned in here on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or even Twitter, please feel free to say hello. And if you all have any questions for our guest, Dr. Cynthia, please feel free to ask them. We are kind of getting to the end. This time, we were just talking about the relativity of time. It passes by so quickly. And so I definitely want to thank you, Cynthia, but you have some other stuff. You are a best-selling author. So if you guys, haven't already done it, check out that book, Be Committed, Get Admitted. You're a TEDx speaker. You are a college enthusiast. How does Chelsea say it? You are, how does she tell me? Hold on. I'm going to remember it really quickly because she is so great. A college admission enthusiast and expert. So like, this is the woman, guys. If you are looking to send your young people to college, she is able to help you understand what that actually means, and you're not waiting until senior year to get this process going. And so what else, Cynthia, do you have going on? Any upcoming endeavors or ventures that you have going on that you want to share with us today?
Sure. So thanks for asking. And the book is a great place to start. I always say, like, it's like that entryway. And so they can go there. You can actually, we're running right now because we also had it translated in Spanish.
Wow.
It's
Love it.
It's the only book in the industry that's fully in Spanish.
Okay,
So
bueno.
right now, if you go to my website, Dr. Cynthia Colon, DrCynthiaColon, just like my name, .com, you're going to see at the top, there are a few things to choose from. But right now, for a limited time, we're giving away the digital copy, PDF copy of the book. You can choose English or Spanish. So that won't be available for free for long. So I would snag that while you can. That's number one. Number two, we really are working to help. This is our mission this year. As 2024, we're looking to empower 20,000 families through more posting, more podcasting. I'll be doing 3 podcasts a week starting next week. So there's all kinds of ways that you can get free information, or also you can download the parent workbook for a nominal fee. But we're just trying to empower more families. So empowering families. We're trying to train more teachers. I have a training this Friday. So if you're a school educator and you're looking to help grow the culture, the college going culture at your school, or you want to train teachers how to write better teacher letters of recommendation, for example, or you want me to train your English teachers how to teach writing in terms of college admission writing, you can do that. So we're looking to train 2,000 teachers this year. We're looking to partner with schools. If schools are wanting to be a host for our essay camp, look, after the SCOTUS decision, I can tell you right now, one of the lines in my TEDx talk is like, what gets written gets read, and what is not written is not considered, basically. Like, if you don't write it in the application somewhere, I cannot consider it as part of who you are and your application. So those essays, you better believe, are really important. So we're looking to partner with 50 schools that want to have us or join in our essay camps this summer. And through all of that, we hope to work with 1,000 students directly through essay camps and Dream College Academy.
Absolutely. Tanya asks, can you give your website again? Because she wants to get a copy. And as you said, I'm actually going to put it in the chat. So go ahead and give it to her again.
So it's my name without the dot. So DrCynthiaColon, like Nancy.com. Yep. Cynthia Colon, DrCynthiaColon.com. And that's, by the way, Toneal, that's my handle everywhere. You can find Dr. Cynthia Colon on Facebook, yep. Dr. Cynthia Colon on Instagram, and on LinkedIn as well.
Okay. And I am, as you are speaking, I am putting that in the chat so that way other people can get it, because I put it in the other chat, but that's going to YouTube. So that way it's on both spots now. So I'm going to also put this up for everybody. So if you guys want to get that book, go ahead and go to the website. Make sure that I did that right, Cynthia. It is Dr. without the dot, DrCynthiaColon.com.
That's perfect.
All righty. So you guys can click on that link and then you can be sure to get a copy of the book. Hello, Miss Jennifer, to everybody that tuned in. We just want to thank you all so much. And to Cynthia, I want for you to give your final remarks. Let people know how they can contact you. I know we have DrCynthiaColon.com, but anything, any closing remarks and contact information, that would be so great.
Listen, here are my closing remarks. And this goes with my being a college enthusiast and a strategist and also an expert. I don't necessarily believe college is for everyone, but I do believe that it should be a choice for everyone. And so, in other words, if you're a parent listening, watching, the best gift that you can give to your child is to give them the best education and experiences possible and tools and resources. The rest is up to them. So starting early is a great thing to do. And listen, I know the truth is that it tends to be that you won't have access to a good counselor at your school until earliest late junior year. We don't want you to wait. I have parents every year who contact me October of senior year asking me to help. And there's very little I can do at that point to change the ultimate results. So if you want to give the gift of choice to your student, get the book, start reading it, follow me. You can get lots of information from Destination University. University is spelled with Y-O-U, because the destination is not university. The destination is you.
Yes.
So Destination University is our podcast, and starting next week, we'll be in season 9, broadcasting on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
That is absolutely awesome. And I love that Destination University. I love that, because at the end of the day, I remember reading a book from Michelle Obama's Becoming book. And she goes on to say, like, why is it that we always ask our young people what it is they want to be when they grow up, as though there's only one answer, as though there's only one thing that you can be. And at the end of the day, as you've talked about throughout this interview, we change, right? We revamp ourselves. We kind of evolve throughout time. And so it's great to be able to have the opportunity. And so I love how you put that. It's the choice, being able to be given the choice. I agree with you. I am one who has a master's degree, but I tell all of my girls, and I got a lot of them, that's why I say all, that it is definitely a choice, and it's not for everybody, and that's okay. And
Right.
that's okay. And so in either case, I'm going to put you back in the studio, Cynthia, but I want to thank you so very much for coming on. This has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for all that you
You're
do, all the things you've done, and we'll definitely be in touch very soon.
great. Thank you for having me, and Happy New Year to you and to everyone
Thank you.
watching and listening. Yes.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody who has taken the time to tune in to another inspirational talk with Toneal, the show that where we talk to what is it, ordinary people or everyday people with ordinary stories, making the best and intentional choices to be their best selves. And so I want to thank again Dr. Cynthia, and to each of you who tuned in, whether you tuned in from Facebook or Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Thank you so much. If you are not already doing so, please make sure that you follow Dr. Cynthia Colon. You can follow her. Her name is her handle across the board, the same way it is with me. You can follow at my name is Toneal. And don't forget, if you would like to be a sponsor of this show, sponsorship opportunities are available. The packages are on the screen, and perhaps you don't want an entire package, but you like to just have a commercial, so that way we are promoting your product, your business, or your service. That is also available. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and until tomorrow, you guys stay inspired.